to run.
Slay. Talking points. We'll deal with it.
She shouldn't be allowed to run. She's guilty of a very, very serious crime.
Donald Trump taking some heat today for demonizing Secretary Clinton and for not automatically accepting the election results. Are those criticisms valid?
Who do you think won the debate?
Hillary by a long run.
Donald, for sure. I just think he says everything right.
Also had Waters in Vegas talking to the folks right after the big showdown.
Don't believe me, just watch.
Caution. You are about to enter the no spin zone. The fact it begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. I'm dressed in the penguin suit because I'm attending the Al Smith dinner where Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump will be speaking this evening. You'll see split-screen scenes from that throughout this hour. People arriving, the speeches are later on. The dinner honors the first Catholic ever to run for president, Al Smith, who lost to Herbert Hoover in 1928. Now let's get to the third and last presidential debate in 2016. And that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. One suggestion, put aside, please, your emotions for a moment so you can better absorb this debate analysis because a lot of stuff coming at you. The headline is both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump exposed themselves politically last night. American voters who are paying attention now know exactly where the candidates stand. The back and forth on abortion is the best example.
If you go with what Hillary is saying, in the 9th month, you can take the baby and rip the baby out of the womb of the mother just prior to the birth of the baby. Now, you can say that that's okay, and Hillary can say that that's okay, but it's not okay with me.
I do not think the United States government should be stepping in and making those most personal of decisions. So you can regulate if you are doing so with the life and the health of the mother taken into account.
Now, it's somewhat shocking, and I mean that, shocking, that Hillary Clinton would support late-term partial birth abortion, citing the health of the mother. As we saw in Kansas and in Pennsylvania, the health of the mother could be anything. There are corrupt doctors who will abort for money on the most flimsy of physical excuses. In a humane country, the unborn must be protected to some extent by the government. Otherwise, we don't have any moral authority on anything. Next up, illegal immigration.
Is that your dream, open borders?
Well, if you went on to read the rest of the sentence, I was talking about energy. We trade more energy with our neighbors than we trade with the rest of the world combined.
Chris Wallace citing the WikiLeaks hack showing Secretary Clinton saying to a bunch of Brazilian bankers, quote, "My dream is a hemispheric common market with open trade and open borders sometime in the future with energy that is as green and sustainable as we can get," unquote. So this isn't just about energy, Ms. Secretary. It's about what the EU does. Mrs. Clinton supports people moving freely in this hemisphere as they do right now in Western Europe. That is the truth. Now we devolve and get into how the candidates really feel about each other.
Look, for everything I see, has no respect for this person.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
It's pretty clear you won't admit
No, you're
that
the
the
puppet.
Russian.
No, puppets all over the world are outraged, and they have a right to be. Then things got even worse. Here's Clinton on Trump.
It's not one thing. This is a pattern of divisiveness, of a very dark and, in many ways, dangerous vision of our country, where he incites violence, where he applauds people who are pushing and pulling and punching at his rallies. That is not who America is.
It's clear Hillary Clinton despises Donald Trump, and vice versa.
She shouldn't be allowed to run. She's guilty of a very, very serious crime. She should not be allowed to run. And just in that respect, I say it's rigged. Because she should never, Tris, she should never have been allowed to run for the presidency based on what she did with emails and so many other things.
Finally, Donald Trump made a tactical mistake by continuing to suggest the election may be rigged. That may play well with Trump's base, but he needs to win over independents and people who are skeptical of him.
I want to ask you here on the stage tonight, do you make the same commitment that you will absolutely, sir, that you will absolutely accept the result of this election?
I will look at it at the time.
Now, that statement dominated news headlines today, wiping out all the political points last night, giving the media yet another hammer to pound Trump into pudding. Talking Points does not understand why Donald Trump does not understand that stuff like that hurts him. He clarified today in Ohio.
Of course, I would accept a clear election result, but I would also reserve my right to contest or file a legal challenge in the case of a questionable result.
Well, that's what he should have said last night, and that would have knocked it out of page one. Summing up, nobody won the debate, so Hillary Clinton will likely maintain her substantial lead. And that's enough. Now for the top story reaction, joining us from Lancaster, New York, Congressman Chris Collins, an early and strong supporter of Donald Trump. So am I making any mistakes in the talking points, Congressman?
No, Bill, I think you've hit it very clearly, and I would just add, I would give Hillary Clinton some style points as a career politician who's debated most of her life. I would give Donald Trump substance points on getting across, the issues on the Supreme Court, certainly the issue with the borders, the differences between he and Hillary on trade. He had some great style points, or Hillary had the style points, he had the substance points, but I agree by not saying he would accept unilaterally the results of the election. It did become today's headlines from the liberal press, and I was a little bit dismayed at that.
Because his statement
but it
today
happened, we'll move beyond it. But
his statement today in Ohio was a statement he should have gave last night. I mean, and that would have just negated all that, and then people could have gone back to, okay, look, here's what Trump feels about abortion, here's what he feels about immigration, here's what Secretary Clinton, and then make their decision. Now, I predict that Clinton will maintain a 6 or 7% lead across the country. New York's already done. It's 25%. Clinton is ahead here, so Trump's not going to carry his home state. In the House, where you sit, are people worried the Democrats may take the majority back?
Oh, not in the House, no. We've always known, just based on the fact that we had 247 seats, a margin of 59 members, the largest since 1928, we would tend to lose 7 or 8, even 10 seats this time. And I think it will be in that number that we will return with 230, 235 members, still a very substantial lead. Because the math just doesn't work.
Yeah, because that's the only, if the Senate goes Democrat, and that's a big if, but the only constraint on Hillary Clinton carrying on President Obama's policies and maybe even expanding into single-payer health care would be the House. Now, when you see a candidate like Donald Trump, who has basically stuck to his guns. I mean, if you don't like him, that's fine, but you have to admit the guy's not a phony. I mean, he puts himself out there in awkward positions. Another politician would never in a million years do that. But I don't know if the American people, I don't know if they feel easy with him. And that's what he had to do in the 3 debates, is make it easier for them to vote for him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but I think the difference between status quo under Hillary Clinton, the change agent that Donald Trump is, putting America first, I can tell you the energy is through the roof from his supporters everywhere I went today.
His supporters are rabid, and that's what they're counting on. That there'll be a lot of people vote for Donald Trump who, A, won't tell pollsters they won't vote for him, and B, haven't voted before, that the voting patterns will be upended.
Yeah.
But the demographics, particularly out west, they don't show that. I mean, there's a lot of Hispanic voters, new Hispanic voters out there, and it's a tough road. You want to make a prediction of what's going to happen on November 8th?
Oh, I think Donald Trump wins. He has to take Ohio, North Carolina, Florida, and then either Pennsylvania or Nevada, Iowa, and New Hampshire. I do believe Donald Trump is going to be our next president because as the change agent, much like the Brexit vote, there's a lot of undercover voters that are voting for Donald Trump. He has the energy, and the WikiLeaks is really disappointing to the Bernie Sanders supporters. I think they're more likely to stay home because they're showing the two faces and how disingenuous Hillary Clinton really is. So there's no